Hi, welcome to the Buffalo Trace 1765. My name's Nathan Kobuck, and today we're going to be talking about finger weaving, specifically the oblique weave. The oblique weave was a style of finger weaving that was common in North America from Canada the whole way down to the southeast in the mid to late 18th century, well into the 19th century. This was used to make things like bags, sashes, garters, and other tools and ornaments commonly used by native people. What is interesting and nice about the oblique weave is it gives you broad, open areas in which you can do a lot of intricate beading. It also gives you the ability to do contrasting stripes throughout it, which we refer to as either selvage edge. It can also give you the ability to do broad contrasting stripes throughout the entire piece, which you see a lot into the 19th century. This type of weaving is very simple to do, but could be quite intimidating because of the amount of threads, and it's a new skill, so it's going to be intimidating to many folks. I found that looking at a number of books throughout the years, I wasn't able to quite get it until I saw someone physically do the weaving. So that's what I'm hoping to do for you today. All you need to do the oblique weave is a dowel rod. It could be a dowel rod, a pencil, a stick, use your imagination, and hard textured 2-ply yarn. Now, what we're using today is a brand called Filature Lemieux, and their type of yarn is Quebecois. This is a hard texture 2-ply yarn, which is similar to what they were using in the 18th century. This size is a little thicker than I normally would use, but it's great for beginners, and it does match up to some 18th century examples. For practice pieces, feel free to use any type of yarn that you can get at places like Walmart, Michaels, hemp, cotton thread, anything like that. But I found it works best if you practice with the material that you're going to be making the items out of. You're going to be doing historical reenacting, and this is why you're making this. 2-ply hard texture yarn is what you're going to be looking for, and there are a number of sources for it out there. But if you're doing this for regalia or just simply to do artwork, the sky's the limit. Any yarn, thicker thread, things like that will be perfect for it. So what we're going to be doing today is, first, I'll show you how to wrap up the yarn onto the dowel rod to get it started, how to secure the dowel rod onto a spot so you can get ready for weaving, and I'm going to cover a little bit about how I weave, a way to make it easier for you, and basically a more fun experience so it's not something that you look at as a chore. Also, then we'll get into the actual weave itself, which at that point, I recommend you rewind, fast forward, zoom in if you need to, because I'll be going slow throughout the process, but I'm not going to be weaving a large section of work because, quite frankly, that's the most boring cinematography I could think of is watching me sit there and weave a pair of garters for about 45 minutes. So then after that, we'll be talking a little bit about what we're going to be doing here in the future at the Buffalo Trace 1765. So let's get started. All right, so first we're going to want to put the thread on the dowel rod. So basically I'm going to take the dowel rod. I've measured down about 11.5 inches from the end. It's roughly the size of the fringe on a garter. The overall piece of this is about 40 inches long. Basically, I could just use these to make a pair of garters when I was done with the video. So you take down here, take the yarn, you put it over top of the dowel rod. And you're basically just going to take each thread down around over top. And I tuck them in between my fingers here to lock them in place. And you're going to just do that to the entire bundle. It's that simple. Down around, basically making half a lark's head, locks everything into place. Now, if you were going to be doing something longer, say a powder horn strap or a sash, you're going to want to put the stick in about the middle of the yarn, basically half your project. Um, that really helps speed up the weaving. You're not pulling quite as distance of threads through the project, so which causes less stress on the yarn as you're pulling it through, less likely to get a broken thread, as well as it just saves you a lot of time. So go on, wrap this on here, and I'm going to do a couple more threads, then we're going to basically jump to the next step, because I don't think you want to watch this for 10 minutes. So next step, we'll be putting it on the back of the chair. Now that you have the stick all warped up, you're going to need some place to weave. You really only need something solid and secure to tie that stick off to. Personally, the way that I weave and my setup is I use a ladder back chair. Any type of chair really will work for you. Some folks tie off on the edge of a table. I've seen people use clamps to stick on there and tie everything off to. But what you're going to need to do is find a nice, well-lit area, somewhere that you're comfortable. I generally work in an area where I can see a TV set, hang out with my family, things like that. Have my weaving chair. Once you have everything tied off onto it, you want to be able to just rest your arms, get comfortable. You don't want to be reaching up high, putting stress on your shoulders and arms. You get tired quicker, or going down too low, you won't be able to see the piece. Um, just somewhere where you feel natural, easy. You're not all hunched over. You're not getting stressed out. Well-lit area, that's why I prefer a chair like this. I can adjust it on each rung as I need to, or pull the piece up over as, say I'm weaving a large sash or something. I can just keep taking it down over, and the top acts as a brace. And you just basically sitting there in a comfortable position, and you're going to be able to weave like that. Stay comfortable. I'm lucky I have a dedicated weaving area. So what I find with the chair is I'm able to tie up future projects. I have scissors, keep my beads there for when I'm working on things. I keep a notebook. Notebooks you'll find are very important if you get into weaving, because you can keep notes on things such as how many threads per inch on a particular type of yarn, which if you're copying certain pieces will come in handy. I also generally keep a picture or detailed drawings of the item that I'm making on my chair while I'm working on it, so I can reference back to that. Like I said, the sky's the limit. Whatever works for you. It's more important that you feel comfortable, that you're relaxed, that you make it easy and enjoyable. This shouldn't be a chore. This should be something fun to do. If you look at the images of Native women finger weaving, you'll find that often they're doing it in a social setting. This is what I consider a very social art. I can sit there, watch TV, talk to my kids. I can pick this whole project up, go out on the deck, work a nice day. My real world job is as a locomotive engineer, so I can take finger weaving onto the train, to the hotel, everywhere that I need to go. And as long as I have well lit area, somewhere secure it to, and you be comfortable, it's easy to start weaving. This is not an artwork that takes a lot of time or space to set up and start working on. So now that you've got your weaving spot, you've got the stick tied off, now let's get into the actual weave itself. All right, so we got all the threads wrapped on the dowel rod here. Now what you're going to do is basically kind of even them out. Make sure everything's nice and even across them, nice and spaced. Back. I then half it. Doesn't have to be exactly half. It's just eyeballing it. And just do like a half granny knot at the top. and locks everything in place, keeps your threads from going up and down. Now, what I do is I'm going to tie it off now onto my chair or whatever you're going to be using. Personally, I put the stick on top. So, I mean, you can, here's the bottom part, top. You can weave it either way. This is just a way I prefer to do it. You know, if you would start off on this way like this, it's the same. It doesn't matter. So, and then just do a granny knot to keep it locked in place. And you're ready to start. Now, like I said earlier, got my arms rested on my legs here, not hunched over, nice comfortable position, and I'm ready to start weaving. So this is going to be some of the most riveting cinematography you've ever seen, but now we're going to start weaving. Now, you have everything else nice and even. On the far left is where you're going to begin. First thread, second thread. You take your second thread under, just simply under your first thread. And it's just kind of floating off here in the distance. Thread number 3 and 4. You're going to take 4 under number 3 into that next open slot. See? Under, through the slot. Number 5 and 6. Take 6 under 5 through that slot, right through. And you're going to do this the entire way across here. Like I said, there's 40 threads in here. I recommend your first piece to between 20 and 40 threads. It's not too wide. It's long enough that you actually are learning the steps and you're getting that muscle memory. So we'll start those first couple again, just so you can see them once again, because this is, you get this and the rest will just start falling into place. All right, thread 1, 2 goes under 1, thread 3, thread 4, 4 goes under 3 and up through that hole. 5, 6, 6 goes under 5 and up through the hole. And just keep repeating that the whole way across. The oblique weave is basically a large flat braid. We call it weaving, but it doesn't have the traditional warp and weft system that we think of when we think of other types of weaving. Under, through the hole. Through the hole. Through the hole. under. It is just this exciting. Like watching paint dry, isn't it, folks? No. Now, when you're on your right side, you got the last two. Okay? You're continuing the cycle where this goes under through the hole. Now you have, you know, no way left. You got this group here. Half is in your left hand, half is in your right hand. Half in your left hand is now over top. It's the top. So you will take, and this is where the step, it's kind of fuzzy in a lot of the manuals and things. I've read every book there is that I'm aware of at this point on finger weaving or how to. This one always gets fuzzy in the instructions. So you're going to take the far right thread and go under the next thread that's going to the right. Okay? You've got these pointing to the right, these pointing to the left. Far right goes under the second right. Now you'll go to your next one on the right and start pulling them up through those slots. See, they'll evenly just slide right into that hole. And you will just repeat that step the whole way back across. Bring the ones on the bottom up through the hole. Now, let's say in here, and it's going to happen a lot in the beginning, you pull the wrong thread. For example, this one should be the next one to go. But let's say you miss it and grab this next one and pull. And then that'll start the process of your filling in things in wrong. What I found is if you're feeling, and this is all feel, if something feels wrong, it is wrong. So like right away, I can feel something's not right there. I can feel another thread in the back. See, you got the one that's just shooting out. So to correct a mistake, you simply just pull the threads back through. Go back to where you find your mistake. And the further you go, the more obvious mistakes will be. Because this line should continue the whole way down here. This line should go the whole way down there. It's just, you're basically doing math equations over and over again. And when you mess up math, it's easy to determine. So. And as you're pulling the threads through, getting too far out of frame here. You'll notice I'm not grabbing them and like cinching them up tight or pulling on them, like, because like a lot of people, the first instinct is they want to make everything tight. And what ends up happening is you're going to not do that every time, and your weave will end up getting a wave in it. So it's all about, you end up just really pulling the same level the whole way through, and that's all practice. That's all muscle memory. Now, we've reached the far left, so I kept repeating that back through. Now on the left, you'll have the oddball one. All these ones in this hand are going top, are going right. All the bottom ones are going left. Now, on the left, your first left thread will now go over. Let me loosen up so you can see this. Left thread will go over the second thread on the bottom on the left. See that? This is where you stopped. When you pulled all your threads through, it'll look like this. Thread over. Remember, right, under, left, over. That's how you end a row. Because you're just going to keep going back and forth here. You're going to get to the right, under, weave back to your left, the thread will come over, and they're just ending. And then your next thread comes up through the slot again. And this is, you just will keep going down through, pulling the bottom thread up through the next corresponding threads. Thread through. Now you can slow this down, rewind this as much as you need to see. And if you're very unsure or just unsure of any step that I'm showing this whole way, please feel free to put it in the comments. That will help me determine where I've not been clear enough on my instructions. That way, if you have a number of people have the same issue, then I can go back in a future video and correct it. Or feel free to email me at thebuffalotrace1765 at gmail.com and let me know where you're not seeing, what part you're stuck on. But I prefer you do it in the comments, because then everybody can learn together, and usually it's the same spots I've noticed students in the past don't get. All right, finally we're here on the right again. You got those 3 threads, right, goes through there. Now, left threads, right threads, or one, right, under, and back up through. All right, hopefully I didn't make this isn't too much of a Blair Witch effect here with the camera. Left, over, right, under. So I'll finish this row, and then we'll cut to some other things, because I don't believe that you want to watch a 36-hour video of me finger weaving this. You notice using this heavier uh, yarn, it's really easy. You can really see it clearly. And then as you practice, then you can start using different size yarns. The originals were anywhere from, let's see, this thickness to maybe even a little thicker to a crewel embroidery thread. And once again, go to the left, left, over. And you followed all the steps so far, and I wasn't a terrible teacher. You're finger weaving. Oh, actually, this is a good point here. Now, while I've stopped, what the easiest way to stop a project is, you simply take the bottom half, top half, and just loop them. This locks everything into place. You can then walk away from this, throw it in your backpack, take it to work, carry it around, get this out whenever you can, tie it off on something, and start back over. This is an easy way, an easy style art to just pick up and carry with you anywhere you go. So we'll get some yarn, a dowel rod, and a ladder back chair, and start weaving. Well, I hope you found this video helpful in beginning your journey into finger weaving. Like I said earlier, this can be very intimidating and look very complicated, but it's quite simple. The key is to just keep practicing and trying at it and don't give up. I found that even after I'd looked at weaving books for a number of years, it took me actually seeing someone in person doing the weaving before it finally clicked in my head. And then after a number of times of messing up, just suddenly one day it clicked. So hopefully that'll be your journey as well. Like I said, this is the first in a series of videos on the oblique weave. The next video is going to focus on doing the selvage edge, the blue in this sash you see is, and doing beading. Hopefully to help folks make that next step to go from doing that plain pair of garters, hopefully that you were able to finish from this video, to the next pair, which will be beaded, and do your next sash, pouch, so on. Finger weaving is one of the most enjoyable things that I've come across in this hobby, and I hope to share it with you as well. Now, this is, like I said, the first video here at Buffalo Trace, and we're hoping to do more of these in the future along with the finger weaving videos. I'm doing add-ons to the Buffalo Trace 7065 blog, as well as the Buffalo Trace 7065 section in Muzzleloader magazine. Both places I'll put links in the description for you to check out. I really encourage you to support Muzzleloader magazine. It's a great magazine, and it's been supporting our hobby for a very long time. And Gatliff is a pretty good guy, even if he publishes my stuff. I'd also like to thank Anthony Winiger, Peter Kelly, Ethan Yazel, Drake, Alec, and the Dutchman for encouraging me to come out of my shell a little bit here and start to do these videos to help share this information with you on a different platform. So from here, from us at Buffalo Trace 7065, thank you for watching the video. I hope you got something out of it. And just remember, kids, that while he looks nice, the Dutchman is evil. And don't forget it. Goodbye. What are you looking at? Like to see you try to weave something. Nerd.